Today we got to work on this truck. This is a 04, I think, International 4400 DT 466. Bought this truck a while ago, and over the winter I went to go move it and it wouldn't start. I just hit the key, which is crank, 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 crank. So I just moved it over here with the wrecker out of the way, and now I need to get it running because I'm thinking about putting my rollback bed on it, but I don't know what's wrong with it. So let's check it out. I put 3 batteries in it right now, and they're fully charged, and it's got kind of a weird deal going on. It cranks really slow, and it didn't before. Now, preface this: the whole entire hood was closed, everything was sealed up. We didn't have any problem with water intrusion or anything like that, and I didn't see anything in the oil on the dipstick. So, but it cranks real slow, even with the jump box on. So I put the jump box right on the starter, and it cranks okay, but you got to see what the exhaust is like. I want to make sure there's not a restriction, so I've removed the air intake as well as I have removed the exhaust off the turbo, because I want to make sure there's no restrictions causing this thing not to be able to suck the air in, you know, and have compression and blow it out. So I'm going to show you what this thing does. Go ahead, crank it. I don't know if you can see that horrible black fog. It's in complete combustion, and I've got the fuel disconnected. You know, that's just starting fluid, so we shouldn't have anything coming out of here. It's terrible. I wanted to use this to put my rollback on because this truck is actually a pretty cool truck. It's air ride seats, dual driver and passenger dual air ride. It's power windows, power locks, air cruise, tilt, keyless entry, air ride cab, air ride rear suspension, and a locker. You know, it's perfect setup, but like everything else, right when you need it, there's a problem. And this black fog is just awful. It's incomplete combustion is all I can figure, and I don't know if I can show you in here or not what that fuel looks like. It's pretty bad. Well, it doesn't look too bad in camera, but when I sampled it, sure did. We've either got an internal engine problem or we've got an injector problem and we're spraying water. I don't know. I don't know if we have possibly water in the fuel. I guess I'm just gonna have to drain it and see. Look at the crud down in that fuel filter housing. That is awful. Now you can see just how dirty it is down in there. I want to clean that out. Well, that's better. So we flushed some fuel out and we got fresh fuel in the bowl. We'll see what happens. I got the intake back on. Go ahead. Shut it off and see how it restarts now. Turn this off. Alright, we're going to restart it. See that terrible start? We're going to have to get some more fuel in this thing. Get some better fuel. 421,000 miles, over 50 pounds, 55 pounds of oil pressure. We have no air pressure on our secondary or primary. Air 2 secondary. So our primary, we only got 30. We need air tanks because they're rotted out. get us some fresh fuel for this thing. So we drained that nasty crap out of here. Now we're just going to put in 10 gallons of fresh diesel and that filter and see if it makes any difference. Fuel filter's in, filled up, and primer bulb pumped up, and I put the exhaust back together. So we are ready to fire it up now. It's not going to fire up great because it still has crappy fuel in the fuel rail, but we're going to let it run for a while and circulate the fuel. Plus I put some additive in there, so hopefully it'll clean it all up. And go get some more diesel fuel. That's 10 gallons, but we'll put some more in. See what it sounds like. Again, not great, but we'll let it run a while. Let it circulate that diesel. This is not encouraging. I see metal flakes in here. Not good. I don't know if that's coming from the injectors on the return side. I wouldn't think it would turn to the filter, but I don't know the system well enough to know. I'll have to look into it. It idles pretty smooth. However, it's got a stumble, I think. I can feel a little slight miss. That seemed to have helped. That was a little additive in the fuel. It's idling pretty good now. Nice and smooth. No hugs, no chugs, no putters. Still got tremendous blow by. Absolutely horrible, but whatever. Believe how nice it revs up now. Nice and smooth. Fingers crossed. We'll let it run a little while longer. It's been running for about probably 15 minutes or so. You know, the real defining moment will be when we come back after it's set, because we got it running now, but we cranked it a bunch that the engine block warmed up. So if we come back and we have the same problem starting it again, then we're kind of wasting our time and it's time to take it apart. It's been a couple days. Let's see how the thing starts up now. And we're going to put the scanner on it and look at everything and see if there's any codes or anything we need to address. Seemed to start okay. Whoa. Let it run a while and get the scanner set up. Well, that isn't good. The idle's dropping down. And we got a noise. Oh, there it is. Look at that. That water pump's no good. We may not be able to go much farther. Wonder if that's why it's low on coolant. Okay. Alright. We have to shut it off. Damper on that thing. Yeah. I'm not gonna run it with that bad water pump. we'll get some coolant in here and some water mix and see what it is. But I want to check and see what codes we have, if any, before we go any farther. Well, that's encouraging. We have no active faults and no inactive faults anywhere, so that's a good thing. So as far as the surging is concerned, we could have sucking air from the fuel. Now remember, we just took this apart here, which sometimes those O-rings will leak after you take them apart, so we could be sucking air in here. It could be number one problem. We could have a leak somewhere else that we're sucking air, because here's the pump. So anywhere we suck air up to that point, we'll put air into the system. After here, it becomes pressure. So it could be, you know, that bottom drain that we had loose. It could be sucking some air out of there. You'd think it'd be dripping fuel. However, it's not always the case. We could have leaking air around here somewhere. My bigger concern is I hope it's not a coolant situation where we're introducing coolant into the engine or something like that into the fuel system. So I think the first thing I need to do, if I could just get a clear hose where I could see if there's bubbles in here when it's running, that'd be really nice. But the other thing I can do is pressurize this tank. I can put light air pressure, just a small amount of air pressure in the tank, and let it push fuel. And then anywhere that we have a leak where it can suck air, it would push fuel out of that same place, possibly. Anyways, I think what I'm going to do first, before I go too far, is get some more coolant, and let's see about a water pump before we go anywhere. But I think this is turning into not looking very good for putting my rollback bed on. We may have to go to a different plan, but it is good to see there's no active codes. I do want to see it doesn't start really great either, and it leads me to believe there's some kind of problem anyways. But I want to see what some of our ICP desired is 665. We're at 700, so we're good there. IPR is at 18, 17%, 16%. Good engine oil pressure, base oil. ICP desired. Injection control pressure just dropped off a good bit. But if we have a problem with fuel supply or delivery, as soon as it dips in RPM, we'll see that. Coolant temp 108. It's got enough to read it. 71 degrees today. That's pretty accurate. All right, let's get some coolant. I don't know what to do at this point. I don't want to condemn the engine, but we got something going on, and I need to know if it's just air in the fuel that's making us do this, or do we have a pump that's not able to pump, or we have some reason that it can't get fuel from here to here. At least that's where I'm leaning right now. So that's surging. I'm thinking it's in the fuel, and look what I just found. I don't know if I can even zoom in where you can see this. Maybe not. It's hard for me to even see it, but that fuel line, you follow this fuel line right down into there. You see what's there? If it'll focus on it, there's a piece of rubber hose on that fuel line. So I don't know if that fuel line's been cut, but that could be the source of our air intrusion sucking air. Boy, you just can't get in there. I wonder if I can get in this way. Here. Let's see it. Get in there. Yeah, there you go. You can see it right there. So maybe that's where our air intrusion's coming and can suck air through there. I don't know. I'm going to look into it, though. I'm going to get a water pump, and we'll put that on, and I think that's as far as we're going with this thing right now until I can get the water pump in, get it filled full of coolant, and pressurize the cooling system, and then also looking at that fuel problem. So next time you see this truck, we'll be digging into the drivability and the air tanks, battery box, that type deal. We'll get this thing towed over to the shop and get all this mess taken care of. This is such a horrible design. Powder coating, again, powder coating on both of those. That's the problem.